What's interesting is I actually had this at another company as well, where somebody was like, "Oh, like which sort of like design process methodology should we use?" And while there are a lot of like really interesting aspects to a lot of different design methodologies, we don't have like a sort of like rote here is like the design process we follow for every project. And I think that's a feature, not a bug. So I would say the way we generally tend to approach problems is sort of starting with a clear articulation of what the problem is. I am often impressed by how many challenges can be overcome by just aligning on like what the core problem to be solved is. And then from there, we end up choosing the sort of right methodologies to sort of map to that problem. So if it's, for example, a really well understood problem space, for example, when I first joined Mystery, we were doing some small changes to our authentication process. Where, like, authentication is a fairly well-known problem space. We can rely on a lot of existing patterns, and it's a fairly easy thing to iterate on, provided we get the security part of it right. But from a usability process, it was one where we didn't end up doing a lot of research besides best practices. On the other hand, there are other problems. For example, like we're looking at now around some processes around the sort of corporate purchase process. So, like how a people leader or an organizational manager thinks about the ROI of our services. And in those cases, like there are not well established best practices for that. So, like those, we're doing a bit of a deeper dive on gathering inputs. Um, it's probably also worth mentioning. Oh, this will probably actually be in another question, but generally speaking, that's like a collaboration across product and design and engineering. Design doesn't really make those decisions in a vacuum, nor do product or engineering make those decisions and delegate them down to design. Those sort of roadmap and scope decisions we tend to make pretty collaboratively.